We're going to be visited now by Gold Island, which is exploring in an emerging gold district in Newfoundland. And we're going to be visited by Adrian Fleming, who is the CEO.
So we talked about the gold. Let's jump on to corporate. And I've taken you through this, but the last point on this slide was that the bulk of our shares are still held by insiders and strategic investors. We have more than enough money to begin our exploration work, which we did last year. So Newfoundland's a great jurisdiction to work in, and I'm puzzled by the fact that it's been overlooked for so long, because it has a long history of mining. That mining has contributed significantly to the economy, but for some reason or other, there's not been a lot of recent systematic modern gold exploration in Newfoundland up until just the last few years, and probably Newfound Gold with their very high-grade discoveries got everybody's attention. Newfoundland has really terrific geology, and I won't go into detail on that because it's a very short presentation, but it's a great part of Canada to be working in, just on the basis of its geological fundamentals. There's very good infrastructure through the island, lots of roads, there's power. The permitting is quick and transparent, which makes it very easy to do exploration. You can work practically all year round. And perhaps even more importantly, the Newfoundland Geological Survey has an amazing record of information from past exploration, from work by the Canadian Geological Survey, their own work. And so that's a treasure trove of data that you can dig into to help to progress your exploration. We have a total of 7 separate projects, and all of these except for one option from Shawn Ryan, who I worked with in the Yukon with Underworld Resources back in 2009. And nearly all of our projects are greenfields, and several of them have either not been staked before or have never had any modern detailed exploration carried out on them. These properties were chosen by Shawn on the basis of very careful research, which he's a master at doing. And then within the Notre Dame and Mings Bight properties, which are our listing properties, there's a project called the Burton Project. We optioned that from a local prospector. There's many samples on the surface running up to 10 grams per ton, a couple of drill holes, and Burton is probably the first project that we will get to drill once we've listed in the second half of this year. It's important also to mention some of the other developments on the island. Marathon Gold with the Valentine Lake deposit moving to production. You all know about Newfound Gold. And what I haven't put on here is Lab Gold, which is another one of the Shawn Ryan companies that recently made a very nice discovery. So that is testament to Shawn's methodology, where he does very careful research and then looks at the geology, looks at history, and goes out and stakes ground with the appropriate geological setting. So we're excited about this slew of projects that we have. So here's our team. I mentioned Shawn Ryan before. I worked with Shawn Ryan in the Yukon in 2008. He had done his pioneering soil geochemistry. We picked up the baton, started drilling, and after 2 years of drilling, we defined the Golden Saddle deposit. Paul Robinson, who you see on the right-hand side, a very experienced geologist who's going to be leading the charge on the island. David Onfrio, who you've just heard from, is our chairman, and his company continues to provide backroom services to us. And then I want to mention Ground Truth Exploration, which is part of the Shawn Ryan Cathy Wood empire, because they do our first pass soil geochemical sampling, tool sampling, and they're very good at it. And then the rest of our team are very experienced campaigners in the minerals industry and the exploration space. Our company strategy is very straightforward, and I just want to take you through these points here. So there's 4 elements. We're searching, and we're searching in the effort to make a discovery. And then once you find a deposit or find some mineralization, those first couple of key drill holes, that gets the adrenaline going. We then move into the definition stage. That can be a lot of drilling, perhaps up to 100 drill holes. That, with the blessing of the gold gods, will allow us to define a resource, and then we would go to monetize that in one way or the other, perhaps build a mine, perhaps joint venture it out, or in the case of Underworld Resources, another company takes you out and everybody does very nicely. Thank you. My screen is jammed, Laura. Oh no, here we go. So here's our plan. Undertaking systematic iterative exploration, and I'm a great believer in taking lots of little steps, and each step leads levers off the previous step. Clearly, like many other explorers in the space these days, technology is continuing to develop, and we try to use the best techniques. We are using other people's money to do this exploration work, and so I'm always very conscious of being cost effective with our exploration activity. With the number of properties we have, we're going to find sniffs of gold in many areas. You've got to continue to rank those, and because you want to focus on the better looking ones, and then the ones that don't make the top tier of your ranking, you abandon them. We're continually wanting to identify with the ranking most prospective targets. It's very important to move quickly to core drilling. Maybe RC drilling first and then go on to core drilling, but I'm a great proponent of let's get out there and quickly drill not just one target, but several. We are going to be listing probably in May of this year, and so we'd invite people to watch our space, because I think you should be investing in this company. And prior to the end of 2022, I expect that we will have been drilling on at least 2 of our different projects. So what is the deliverable that we are seeking as a greenfields junior exploration company? Well, clearly, to find a gold deposit with an indicated and inferred resources. And indicated and inferred can only be applied to resources if there's a potential for them to be economically viable. And then a corporate transaction that rewards all of those involved, and particularly our shareholders. And of course, I am one of those. So just to finish up now, what are some of the criteria for success? I've been in this business for 40 odd years. I've had the very good fortune to have been involved with a number of discoveries, either as a part of the team or a leader of the team. Of course, you need to do a lot of drilling, and large drill rigs like this these days work very efficiently. But let's come back to these criteria. You have to have great properties. There's no doubt in my mind that our properties are top tier. You need to be investing in a company with a team that has a track record of success, and demonstrably we are one of those entities. Of course, you've got to have sufficient capital. You've got to have enough money. We've got more than enough money in the bank already to do 2 years of very thorough exploration, and we'll top up the treasury with the listing in May. Iterative exploration I've mentioned already, but in addition to that, you have to remain focused. You've got to be responsive, because the first couple of targets you test may not deliver the home run. And so agility is another really important criteria. That's our story. Join us. I think you'll enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Excellent, Adrian. Thank you very much. Very, very good presentation. So May, you mentioned that we had a question on that on the IPO, but I think you mentioned it's going to be May. Do you have a sense, once you guys list, what's the structure of the company going to look like at that point? Like how much would still be held by management or Power One? What's the...
Yeah, I think probably we'd finish up in a year or two with maybe 20% of the company held by the insiders and our friends from Power One.
Okay. Excellent. I mean, you've spoken to the potential of Newfoundland. What first brought your interest there? I mean, you had that experience with Shawn Ryan, but when you, I take it Shawn kind of said, we got something in Newfoundland. What is it that made you want to jump in with both feet into this? Yeah,
well, Shawn called me and said, I need your help with this new company I'm forming. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, I'm happy to be a director. I'm a director of 2 or 3 other companies. He said, no, I want you to head it up. I said, I'm retired. And then he said, well, have a look at some of the information, because I hadn't been following Newfoundland. So I spent a number of days carefully looking at what was going on. And I said, I rang him back. I said, Shawn, I'm in. This is untapped potential. What's wrong with Canadians? They keep talking about Newfies over there. I think this is a totally overlooked province. Let's get in here. We can find more gold. And I think, Anthony, there's been a number of new discoveries here, and more are coming. It's a very, very highly potential area, and it's been neglected, and I don't understand why it's been neglected.
Yeah, I think you're right. It has been overlooked. I mean, with newfound gold, that's starting to change, and I think you guys are coming in at the right time. There's much more to be discovered here, and it's a wonderful place to operate. I lived in St. John's. Well, I shouldn't say lived. I was there for a couple of months back when I first came out of journalism school, and only have amazing experiences to recount there. Have you been to the island very often?
Never been. I'm going to be there all summer, I hope.
Well, you're in for a real treat. You might not want to leave anytime soon. It's a special place. So,
Anthony,
Adrian,
they say the bugs are as big as drones. That's the safety risk.
Yeah, that's the one thing, right? You get out there in the summer, you get in the backwoods, the bugs get pretty big, but that's all right. There'll be a nice pint of Guinness waiting for you back in St. John's when you get out of the woods. So you'll have that.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Very nice to meet you as well. Thank you for joining us all the way from New Zealand. This is the Global Mining Symposium, so that is fitting. Thanks so much, Adrian. All the best of luck with the IPO and going forward from there.
Thank you.
Take care.